I'd like to do for the vicious animal ordinance real quick, have a quick general overview as we did last time with Mr. Porter. There are a few points that were addressed, and I'll go over those few points, and then we'll open it up for comments at that point. So, Mr. Porter?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For those of you who were not at the commission meeting, and most of you were not, I know the Riffs were there and some other folks were there, I think Paul's were there. The proposed ordinance that the commission is seriously considering, and I want to emphasize that they're seriously considering it in a way that they will make sure they do it. If they do it, they make sure they do it right. But it is directed solely and only at vicious animals. There are some things that it cannot do. Some things that we've been asked, can you put this in the ordinance? And our response was, we might put that in there, but it'll have absolutely no effect because we don't have the authority to do some things. There are, the county commission is limited in what it can do, and what it can do is address the issue of vicious animals. And when we talk about vicious animals, obviously we're talking mostly about vicious dogs. The ordinance is not intended to require you to keep your dog on your property or to keep it on a leash or in any way restrict your dogs or your animals unless they are vicious. If they attack a person, if they attack other animals, then that's when the vicious animal ordinance would take effect and it would become involved. Right now, the county, as the sheriff and the other members of the sheriff's department will testify to, right now there's very little they can do other than check the dog for rabies. That's about it. So this ordinance is intended to give the sheriff's department, animal control officer, the legal authority to investigate and take action when there is a report of a vicious animal. And then once that is done, the legal process will take over and make sure that not only are the victim's rights protected, but also the animal owner's rights are protected. So we're not just taking everybody's dog. So that's what it's all about. There are some particular provisions. I know that there are some questions asked last time that I think the chairman's going to respond to or talk about it, and we can respond to those again. But that's a general overview of what this ordinance is all about.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
5 items that were brought up at the previous meeting I'll mention real quick. These are items we're looking at including and how to include that. Protection of yourself, of course, is the primary purpose, but also your livestock from vicious animals. The second thing is an exemption for hunting dogs while hunting on public lands. There's one phrase in there that I think if we can rearrange, we won't have the issue with that. Protection from dogs continually running on land. If you own property where you hunt deer and you have problems with other animals coming on and running your deer on that land, we need to look at what possibilities are there. I'm not sure what all is available to us in that particular one. Application of the ordinance within the municipalities. I believe the mayor here has asked to participate in this, and we're going to look at adding something that would allow for all the municipalities, if they chose to adopt this. And then the liability of the landowner's dogs killing other animals that may come onto your land. So if your dog attacks something that comes onto your land, how that is protected in here. So those are some of the things that were brought up, and of course those are open for discussion. Is there anything else from the commission before we take questions on it? If you'd sign up if you'd like to.
First, I have a question on number 7. We talk about the fines. There's $250 fine and so forth, so on. And then over in enforcement, there's another $150. Are we talking about $425 for every violation? The court, and under the attack by an animal declared dangerous, where it talks about the $250 fine if the court imposes. And then you go to the next where it says enforcement, and it talks about $150 for each separate offense. Are those cumulative, or is that? And of course you got $25 fine and administrative fee. And I think in Scottsboro, I discussed the nuisance dog. I don't know how you, I haven't seen any amendments, but I would like to have that addressed if we could. Because I don't think a control officer, if a dog goes out there and chases a cow, it's not necessarily vicious, as I talked about over there. But it is a nuisance. You know, there should be, and I'd like to share with you, I worked in Smokies for a couple of years volunteer, and if there's a dog that comes on the property, they have a lot of people that chase the wild hogs and bear and things like that. They will put the dog in a cage, and the owner has to come get it. And he can come get it the first time, but the second time he's fined, and then if he doesn't get it a certain time, it'll be disposed of. Maybe we as cattle producers need to put the dog in the cage and contact if we had the authority.
It sets out what those fines will be for. Section 5 of that same article, looks like, is a catch-all for any other violations that are not specified in 7. Then the fine will be $150.
So it's not both. It wouldn't be a 250.
It would not be
from the
cumulative,
court.
it would be,
And then 150.
right.
One other comment I have, I'd like to say that the highway department's doing a great job in rural areas, repairing, patching roads. It's helped us.
Amen.
I'll tell you on the, like you're talking about as far as the pen goes, catching the dog, if you have a dog being a nuisance on your property, if you can catch it, pin it up, and call me, I can go get it for you, because you've got it in the pen. I cannot go out there and just go out there, and, you know, I have no right because there's no leash law, just go out here and catch a dog that's running around. But if you've got it in the pen, that's just like, it don't cost, I carry my dog to Scottsboro Animal Show. It don't cost you anything to drop a dog off there. So if you catch it and you've got a way to haul it, there's a kennel outside, go in there and put it in a kennel. One thing we ask, we have a mailbox on the side of the door. It's got a little piece of paper in it, just says your name and address, where the dog come from. That way, we have some idea of where the dog comes from.
So you're saying the landowner has that authority now?
Yeah. If you got cows and you catch a dog out there running and you can get your hands on it, tie it up or pin it up till I can get there, then I can get them that way.
On the issue, when saying that this is for any other offense, do we need to make some more clarification on that?
Well, again, that is a catch-all for those that are not described in the first part of Article 7. And those are specific. $500 fine, $200, $250 fine for those particular offenses.
Anything else, Mr. McGinn? Next.
Yeah, I live out on County Road 19, and usually there's at least one dog thrown out a week over there. And I called a dog pound, and they said, we can't come get them. And so we usually lined up with them.
Are the dogs, you're saying someone's throwing out the dogs out on the street, just letting them run?
In the area I live, it's a drop-off point for dogs and cats. And they just drop them off. Some of them's dead, some of them's alive.
You can address that, Russ?
Matter of fact, I got two dogs that came to my house, and I kept them. My lady friend got 2 or 3 that come to her house, and so we adopted them.
The way I usually handle stray dog calls, if somebody calls into a stray animal, I tell them, you know, it might be a day or 2 till I'm in the area. When I'm in the area, I stop and pick them up. I have so many other calls that I'm on, you know, vicious dog, work dog bite today, dealing with livestock, horses. I kind of have to prioritize the way the calls are. You know, a stray dog, if it's not showing aggression or something like that, it's not hurting nobody. So it might take me a day or 2, might be, you know, 3 or 4 days before I make it to that part of the county to get it. But I can give you one of my cards that's got my cell number on it. A lot of times if you call the Scottsboro Animal Shelter, they won't give me a stray dog call, and they tell people that we don't pick up stray dogs because there's no leash law. So I think the last guy that done it, from the way those guys told me, he didn't pick up, wouldn't go get stray dogs all the time, because there was no dead dogs. Usually if it's on the right of way, I think, I know for instance, I have with a horse, out here on, Highway 40, the state, if it's on the right of way, the state will pick up livestock. And as far as just dead ones, I don't know of anybody that gets them. I think that's more or less just on the.
Thank you. Any other concerns? Like I said, one of our goal is to take these issues and make any changes to this. I hope that by the next public hearing we have, which will be District Court, probably next month, following month, August or September. In August, hopefully, we'll have some revisions to this. Anyone that wants to keep in touch with what's going on with this ordinance, and when we do get another draft put together, if you haven't put your name down yet, or given us your email address, please do that after the meeting. We'll be glad to take that. And when we get a draft together, or when we announce these public hearings, we'll email that out and let you know what's going on with it. So we're trying to get that information out that way as well. Okay, so anything else? Comments?